So with Jesus, you know that the Father sent him. It wasn't about doing his own will. It was about doing the will of the Lord. And he said, because I am committed to doing the things that please him, he has also not left me alone. Many times in your life, you believe God has left you alone. Whenever you think God has left you alone, find out whether you are still doing the things that please him. God is always found where his will is done. God will always be found where people are committed to doing his will. A lot of pains will be overcome in our lives if we are committed to doing God's will. It will put you in charge in your life if you can find out what God's will is on a matter. What is God's will? It is God's plan, purposes, and desire concerning a thing. What is God's will? God, what do you desire on this subject? That is God's will. When we're talking of this type of God's will, we're talking about something that he initiates. He wanted it, so he already included it in his plan. It's a reflection of his agenda. It's a reflection of his calendar. This is a demonstration of the sovereign will of God. There's nothing anybody can do about it. And for this type of will, you need to have a knowledge of it, because the only thing you can do is to align with it. You cannot pray for a change. You can only demonstrate an alignment. If you take steps that are contrary to this will, life becomes unbearable. God has designed that there will be famine in a particular land in a particular year. What you should do is to look for another place he has sent you, or to seek an exemption. Because whether you like it or not, there will be famine. When you don't understand this, you begin to set up vibrating prayer meetings, where the prayer itself, because it's not in alignment with the will of God, the prayer will be long, and yet it will not be fulfilled. That is the reason you see in scriptures, even the friends of God passed through difficult times, but they knew about the will of God. In Genesis chapter 26, let's read in verse 12. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew until he became very great. So it was in that land, and it was in the same year. What land? Genesis 26 verse 1. And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. So very clearly, God's agenda concerning places differ, and it is your wisdom to align with it. Many people follow patterns, believing that if this has happened before and this was the step taken, if it happens again, it is the same step that must be taken. No, you must be mistaken. God does not follow your pattern, so that the best among us, we always look to him for direction. The same answer for the same question last year may not be the same answer this year. Isaac, I know you may be tempted to go to Egypt, but don't go to Egypt. Go to the land I will show you. Everybody else is going to Egypt. You are facing another land. What is wrong with you? Everybody is going to America, going to Canada, going to Europe. They say, my destiny is not in Europe. The will of God for me is not in Canada. This is where he has sent me to, and there is where I will be blessed. It is so important, people of God, that we realize that there are certain will of God, this type, that prayer will not change. Obedience is what will guarantee you an exemption.